So when I say, can you comprehend me in a conversation? What I'm trying to say is, can you understand me? Do you understand what I'm saying? So when we talk about comprehension and interpretation in an academic setting under general studies, we are trying to test your understanding of the passage you are reading. I can remember that since when we were in primary school up to now, since when we were primary students up to now, they used to give us comprehension questions in our exams. They would give us passages and ask us questions about them. So what are they trying to test? They are trying to test our understanding. They are trying to test our understanding. It's not enough to read or to listen. After reading, after listening, do you understand what you have read? Do you understand what you have listened to? That is where it becomes expedient for us to be able to understand what we have read, and this understanding by our teachers or our lecturers. So let's look at different levels of understanding that can be tested when we are writing an exam. The first one is literal understanding. Literal understanding. The second one is evaluating meaning or evaluating understanding. And the third one is inferring or deeper understanding. Deeper understanding. So these three levels of understandings are naturally tested when you are given a comprehension passage to read. The first one, understanding literal meaning. A student or a reader is expected to be able to understand the surface meaning of a passage. That is, be able to talk about the main idea in a passage. Be able to say, okay, in summary, this passage is talking about this. That is the literal meaning. The basic test of comprehension, which is the ability to interpret the literal meaning of a passage, could be tested by asking for summary or lexical meaning. So literal meaning is just, what is it talking about? What is it? It's a pity we are not making use of textbooks here. Would I be able to say, okay, look at this passage. Generally, what is this passage talking about? That is the literal meaning. Now, we move to evaluating meaning. When reading comprehension, the ability to evaluate and give critical analysis of a passage is very important. So after reading it, now you give it analysis of your own. You look at it critically, and please mute yourself so that I'll be able to hear the facilitator. If you have questions, there will be time for questions. When it's time for questions, you can ask your questions. So now, all you need to do now to be a part of this class is to just listen. Listen and jot down your questions. And when it's time for question and answer, you'll be able to ask your questions. So that's, I said, evaluating, you look at it in your own way and look at it critically. You look at it critically. What is it that they said or they did not say? What are they supposed to say that they have not said, and all that. And the third one is the deeper meaning. The reader may be required to make deduction or inferences from the passage. Deeper meaning sometimes have to be inferred by decoding figurative languages. So the deeper meaning is when it comes to interpretation, because there will be, in some passages, you can have proverbs there. You can have idiomatic expressions there. And you'll be asked to explain what it means. In some other passages, when we are still going to look at the types of questions we are going to meet when it comes to comprehension passages. So those are the three types of meaning that we are supposed to take cognizance of when we are reading comprehension passages. What are the purposes of the comprehension passage? Why are we doing comprehension passage? As I mentioned in passing, the first one is to ascertain readers' ability to follow ideas in a message. We want to know whether you have the ability to move from one idea to the other, whether you are able to comprehend the movement of ideas or the unity in ideas. That's one of the things we test when we give you comprehension passages to read and to answer questions. Then also to test readers' ability to understand written English. There are some of us, we speak English well, but when it comes to reading, it is a challenge. And that's why you are in school. That's what differentiates you from a roadside computer technologists. You know, they call themselves engineers, but there are some things you know that they will not know because you are in school. So if you know that as a student, I speak better than I read, then you need to improve on it. Try and read more. Try and read more. Like in your GNS 101, there's the use of the dictionary. Dictionaries, we have paperback, and now it has been made easier. Every phone, every good phone or Android phone is able to accommodate the app, dictionary app. And nobody will come and sit you down and be teaching you this is the meaning of this, this is how to speak this. Your dictionary is your friend. So if you meet a new word, I don't know the meaning. You don't need to go and meet anybody and say, excuse me, man, you are a lecturer in English. What is the meaning of this? You don't need that. Go to your dictionary. Your dictionary will tell you the meaning. And even the proper way of pronunciation of those words and how best to use them will tell you the class of the words and all that. You must have done that in your GNS 101. So, comprehension is testing your ability to understand written English. When it comes to oral English, we can test your ability to speak. But when it comes to comprehension, we are testing your ability to understand. That's why you need to improve on your vocabulary to be able to do a good job of answering comprehension questions. Because at that point, when you meet words that you are not familiar with, there won't be any dictionary for you to check. But when you are prepared yourself beforehand to be able to, when you say a new word that you are not used to, check your dictionary, the way they use the words, the etymology of the word, the history of the word, how it evolved and all that. And then next time you see it, you are master it. That's how you build your vocabulary. And it will help you when you need to answer questions on comprehension in exams. It also tests your familiarity with words, meaning, and context. So knowing the meaning of a word is not enough. The context in which the word is being used is more important than just knowing the meaning of a word. For example, if I tell you, I went to the bank yesterday, the first thing that will come to your mind is, okay, she went to collect money. But if I now tell you that, they do not have the blood group that we needed, then you now say, okay, she went to the blood bank. Or I said, I went to the bank yesterday, the breeze there was very cool. It was very relaxing and all that. Then you know that it's River Bank that I went. So just knowing the meaning of bank alone is not enough. But the context in which the word is used, that's what will give you the real meaning of the word. And those are the things we test when it comes to comprehension. You want to know whether you know how to use the context clue to know the meaning of a word or to know the answer to questions. Now, let's go to types of comprehension questions. We set comprehension questions in different ways. We have interpretation questions. Many comprehension questions are interpretation questions. There are questions that task the candidate to read the passage and demonstrate understanding of a part of the passage or the whole of the passage. To answer this type of question, the reader must know the details and be careful to give adequate answer. Like I just said, we need to know the context of the words used and then the meaning of words. Because if you don't give a word the proper meaning, you might not be able to answer questions on it. Sometimes it might be a word, sometimes it might be a phrase, sometimes it can be a clause or a sentence. Also, we have summary questions. These are questions in which the reader is asked to represent the contents, message, or information in the passage or paragraph or a sentence in a shorter form. I saw one example of how to explanation of summary. The person said somebody called his younger brother and said, go to Shaguy, collect my shoe and my shirt from him. He borrowed them yesterday, went out with them. He did not return them. I know him. If I don't ask for my clothes now, he will not return it. He will keep it, and nobody can collect it. So no, the man went on ranting, and then told the younger one, go there and go and collect my shirt for me now. When the younger one got to Shaguy, the younger one just said, my elder brother said I should collect his shirt from you. And he gave him the shirt and the shoe. That's summary. He didn't go there and say, and my elder brother said, when you collect people's shirts, you don't need to return. And you say, you don't give anybody your hold. And story. The summary is, go and collect my shirt. That is the summary. So when you go straight to the point, you don't add other details. That is, you are summarizing it. And sometimes they ask such questions under comprehension passages. Then we also have opinion questions. These are questions in which the candidate is asked what he thinks about a particular concept or idea in the passage. When it comes to opinion questions, you don't go outside the passage. Your opinion should be what is in the passage. Let your opinion not fly, and you start saying what does not concern the passage or what the passage did not talk about. You don't need to go outside the passage for you to give your opinion. The answer they are expecting is inside the passage. Then we have multiple choice questions. These are carefully put together to test the reader's understanding of the passage. The alternatives are carefully designed by examiners. Some may look correct, but on closer examination, they might not be exactly so. So multiple choice questions are very tricky. And if you are not very patient, you might pick the wrong one. If you rush and say, okay, I know the answer, you just be patient. Look at all the alternatives that they are giving you. Some will be very close to the answer, but they are not the answer. Some will look like the answer, but they are not the answer. And sometimes they can give you options like none of the above. When they say none of the above, be sure that the answer is not part of the ones there. Because some of you are very quick. Once you see none of the above, that means the answer is none of the above. That's why they put it. It is tricky. So multiple choice questions are, and I learned your exams are multiple choice questions. You people have to be very careful, because if they allow you to write story, when you write story, at a point, you might miss your answer. Your answer might be part of your story. So the lecturer can read and say, okay, at least he has mentioned the point. But when it comes to multiple choice question, it's either you get it or you did not get it. There's nothing like you almost got it. So your own exams are even a bit more difficult than people that write stories, that do theory exams. Also, we have vocabulary questions. These are questions designed to test the reader's understanding, knowledge, and interpretation of the words that are used in the passage. Like I mentioned, that they give you vocabulary questions and you have never met that word before, you don't know the meaning of that word, you have automatically failed that question, because there's no way you can conjure answer there. And if you try to cheat, you'll be caught. So some of you enter exam hall with your phone. In Yaba Tech, if you enter exam hall with phone and you are caught, you'll be penalized. So you are not supposed to do that. So, but if you have improved your vocabulary, that's why you are in school. That's why you are not learning whatever you came to learn in Yaba Tech by the roadside. That's why you are in school. Improve on your vocabulary. That's the main reason you are to improve on your vocabulary, so that there's nothing you do in this Nigeria of today that you don't need to speak English. Even mechanic, you speak English if your customer does not understand your language. And if your English is now very poor, you are saying, okay, me, I'm a mechanical engineer, I'm not just a roadside mechanic. Now, okay, come on to check what is happening with to this engine. And you go there and you start speaking like somebody that's never entered school. What you know, theoretically or practically, no matter what you know practically, if you cannot speak and tell us what you know, nobody knows what you know. And if you decide to speak and you are speaking wrongly, you will disappoint people, and people will say, okay, no, I don't think this man can do it. So that's why you should take your GNS classes seriously, because it enhances whatever you have decided to learn. So also they can ask you questions on figures of speech. So under literature, we have figurative expression, simile, metaphor, and all those. You need to learn them very well, because there can be questions on them. They can use metaphorical expressions and tell you to explain what they have. Also, they can write some words and tell you to replace them with other words in the passage. Replace those words with another word that fits in perfectly in the passage. That is another test of our ability to understand. So when such happens, you need to be careful, knowing that there are no perfect synonyms. What I mean is that there are no two words that perfectly can replace the other one. One way or the other, one will be better. So when you need to replace a word in a passage with another word that fits in, you have to do it without the word losing its meaning. Without the word losing its meaning, or without the sentence losing its meaning. So if you replace a word with another one in the passage, and you read the passage and you discover that the meaning is lost, or the meaning is now not complete again, then that is not the word you need. Remove it and get another one that fits in perfectly. Now, how do you start to answer a comprehension passage? The first one is, in an exam situation, you want to answer question on comprehension. First of all, check how much time do you have. Don't go and sit down with one question until all the time we go. Then by the time you say, okay, let me go to question 2, they'll say 10 minutes more. Then people will start screaming, hey. No. How much time do I have? And one of my senior colleagues, Dr. Fatu Ashe, he gave a theory on how to answer comprehension questions, especially in an exam situation. He said, first of all, look for the key words. Look for the words that have been highlighted. Look for the words that have been written in capital letter. Look for the words that have been underlined in the passage. After doing that, go to the questions. Go through the question, read the questions first, at least twice, before you go to the answer. When you read the questions and then you go to the passage, read the questions first before going to the passage. After reading the question, now go to the passage. It has been proven that by the time you go to the passage, the answers to those questions will pop out of the passage. According to him, he said some of his students used to call it magic wand. There is a magic wand when it comes to answering comprehension questions, because once you have read the questions and you go to the answer, to the passage, the answers pop out. And you're also advised that you should read the passage at least twice. At least twice. Read the passage at least twice before you start answering the questions. As you have said, take note of the key ideas that you have read. Look at the main idea and the subordinate ideas. You did it in your 101. What is a paragraph? The paragraph has one topic sentence and every other sentences are subordinates. Look at the topic sentence in every paragraph that you are reading. And that is what you are concerned with. Be able to separate the main sentence from the subordinates, the topic sentence from the subordinates. So that when you want to answer a question, you won't go and use the subordinates to answer question. You use the topic sentence to answer the question. And after you have been able to separate the main idea from the subordinate ideas, then continue reading. Take note of the key ideas and continue. As I said, watch out for the topic sentences and then the subordinates. Then take note of the connecting words which link ideas and what the chronology or trend of events in the passage. There are some connecting words that link ideas together that you can continue and say, therefore, however, all those things, they link ideas together. So take note of them. Carefully go through the questions and ensure that you give the correct interpretation to each question. You have gone through the question, you have read the passage. Now, ensure you give correct interpretation. Like I said, you don't use words out of context. You use words according to the context that is being used. You cannot say, I know it. I know the meaning of that word. I've seen that word before. How is it used in this case? That is what we are testing, and you must take cognizance of that. Don't forget that they are testing you based on that. Make adequate references to the relevant portions of the passage while answering each question. With this, you can easily determine the veracity or authenticity of your responses to the question. So when you want to answer a question, make sure that the answer is from the passage. Don't go and bring your own answer from outside. Don't go and bring your own answer from your experiences. Don't go and bring your own answer from your mind, your imagination. Because you need to refer to that answer you are giving. You need to let us know how you got it from the passage. Not that you just say it and then you don't have any explanation. You can't tell us where it came from. That will make you to lose your marks. You must refer to it in the passage, and that will even help you to know that you are getting the answers correct. But if you see that you are writing your answer and your answer does not correlate with what is in the passage, then it means you are not getting it correct. Then let your answer reflect the nature of the times that the question is being asked. So if the question is being asked in present tense, don't answer it in past tense. If the question is being asked in past tense, answer it in past tense. If it's being asked in present tense, answer it in present tense. That is very important. It is the tense in which a question is being asked that is used to answer the question. Write out your answers using your own words. For example, when we were in primary school, they say, Mr. Giwa is a trader. Then they will ask you the question, who is Mr. Giwa? You go straight to the paper and just write, Mr. Giwa is a trader. That is acceptable in primary school, primary 1, primary 2, and primary 3. But when it comes to secondary school, higher institution, you need to answer the question in your own words without it losing its meaning. Do not lift a whole sentence or paragraph and pretend that it is yours. Don't just go to the passage and just copy out a whole paragraph and say, okay, that is the answer. Whether you just change is there or was and say that is the answer. No, you are supposed to write it in your own words without it losing its meaning. You are still going to put the meaning, get us the meaning, and you still write it in your own words. I hope you are getting that. When you are required to replace a word or an expression with another, ensure that you consider not only the meaning, I've mentioned that and I've explained it, I'm still saying it again, intended, but also the context in which this expression has been used. Don't just write because you just know the meaning. Like I said, the context in which it has been used, that's what will make you to be able to answer correctly. And after all has been said and done, check your time. If you still have time, read through everything you have written so that when we are writing, sometimes we used to omit some things. You can omit is, you can omit to, you can omit o. In your mind, you are written it, but it's not on the paper. So you cross your T's and dot your I's. Make your corrections. Look at it very well. Some answers you can, especially when it comes to multiple choice answers, look at it very well. You could have answered, marked the wrong one while you were rushing. Go back and check it again and be sure that it is the right one that you have marked. With this, you are good to go. If you follow all these steps when you are answering comprehension questions, comprehension and interpretation, if you are able to give correct interpretation to words, and then you follow these steps when you're answering comprehension questions, be sure that you will do well in your comprehension passage, in your exams, and even in true life situations. When you get to the office, they can give you a memo and say, okay, go and work on it. If you don't understand the question, if you don't understand what has been written there, most likely you will not do the right thing. So we are not just teaching you how to speak English here, we are teaching you how to survive.